Welcome back. So this video is a bit overdue and a bit of a twofer. Um, First and foremost, the way I'm doing the video is new to me. I was using iMovie before, and this is the first time I'm going to be using Premiere Pro from Adobe. I got the suite for the digital design class that I'll be talking about today. And while I have the suite for another 8, 9 months, I figure I should get as much out of it as I can. So I'm starting with Premiere Pro. This will be the first go. I've already looked at it a little bit, and it's pretty different than iMovie. It's not as intuitive. I thought it would be more similar. It's not. It caused a bit of a delay in kind of the the speed I was getting out videos, but learning as I go and just trying to keep it low key, get the first couple out there so to familiarize myself with the platform and then hopefully improve over time. So kind of keep the next few pretty simple as I learn the software and, just really trying to maximize the time that I have with the materials that I have. So one thing, first things first, learn Premiere Pro. Next thing is I bought a microphone. I got the cheapest one I could find online. I got it from Temu because, they were relentless with their targeting. And then I was like, I don't know, it was $6. I was like, fine, let's go. instead of like yelling at the camera from across the room. So that's new. And next, we're going to talk about the digital design course for the rest of the video. This is the RISD digital design course, and we are headed into InDesign, the app InDesign. The stuff I'm going to show today is pretty rudimentary, but I'm pretty happy with the cleanliness of my work, and so I'm going to stick them right over here, and let's take a look at what I've done so far. Again, the digital design course from RISD was a little thin on content, but I was using the RISD outline, their syllabus to kind of drive my learning, but I was using to kind of drive my education. So this pot here was kind of directed by them. One of my takeaways from making this, how many layers there are here. Each of those little circles, the different tones in the plant. There's, I think on this pretty simple design, there's something like 6 or 7 layers. And so not so bad to do. Copy and paste, make the brim of the pot, copy it, darken one side, cover it with, put a layer of the lighter on top or the darker on the top. And then you have the look of depth there and the look of shadow. So pretty good techniques, pretty simple, but at the same time, good moves going forward, good like fundamental moves going forward. So this is the first thing that I made in InDesign. I'm pretty happy with it. The next thing I have here is this rounded pot. Similar work. We put a little border around the leaves, putting those stars kind of off to the sides to give it a rounder look. But basically the same idea. And I was pretty happy with how this came out. Actually, it's a pretty basic thing, but it also shows how with a little bit of patience to learn the software and pretty rudimentary skills, you can make something that looks pretty good. So 2 plants, first 2 projects, check and check. So the RISD class gave us an assignment of tracing or outlining animals, and we had to do 5 or 6 of them. The goal was to be as detailed as possible while outlining the character. And the first one I did is right here with this elephant. I colored it pink because it's my elephant, and why not? It takes a lot of time, really zooming in and going really kind of like pixel by pixel to cut it out, essentially like trace it, and then cut it out with accuracy. So it was detailed work. It took a while. I think this probably took me an hour. And I was happy with how it came out. And I saved him as a PNG, so the background is transparent, and I can stamp him anywhere. I've already used him in a couple of things that I've sent to friends. So yeah, an elephant. So this is the elephant I started with, and I just figured I'd show that. This was the screen grab and the one that I traced. So pretty good. The next animal I did was a giraffe. lovely picture of a giraffe. Just a note here, kind of a part of the learning process for me has been not overcomplicating things. He wanted detailed drawings of animals, and one of the things that I did that I think was like pretty smart as far as my planning goes was picking animals that were obvious in shape. I feel like I would have like hamstrung myself if I had done something that was one, either overly complicated, or two, had just nothing comes to mind, but nothing that was like jumped out at you as like, this is an elephant, this is a giraffe. And so picking obvious shapes was, I think, a smart design thing to do. Keeping it simple, the idea is to have the image relay an animal, have designs that kind of further that, get to that goal as quickly as possible. So I think I did a good job for myself in that way, picking obvious shapes for the assignment here. So here we are with the giraffe, and then here's my trace. Again, the same idea. I had to go pretty slowly, pretty detailed. This time I colored in blue because it's my giraffe, and why not? The teacher had done an ant, and this wasn't part of my submission, but I just wanted to do an ant because the teacher had done an ant, so I figured I should do an ant just to copy him. Ant. I was on safari, apparently. The next thing I chose was a rhinoceros. I chose this picture on purpose because the rhinoceros was a little bit angled to the camera, and I wanted to see how that would come out in the trace while keeping the obvious shape of what the animal is. This one took a long time, and I don't remember exactly why. I think working around the horn, the mouth, the ears, that space kind of, there's a bit of negative space where the second horn and ear meet, and I consider just kind of filling that in. But since I could see through it on the picture, I wanted to be faithful to the image, and I think it worked out fine. There was a real question of mine as I was doing it, but I think it worked out fine. I really like how his feet came out. And he's orange because he's my rhinoceros. And still on safari, here I have my kangaroo. He wanted us to be faithful to the drawings, so you can see the boy's privates. Really dangling back there. I really like the red for this guy. I like the ears. I like the way he came out. I like his little arms and his little claws. I've never really investigated kangaroos' hands. It turns out their claws are long and they're pretty dangerous looking. And you can see some of that in the image. Those little points on his front paws, his arms, I guess. Yeah, I like this one. I like the red. Pretty straightforward again, but I think clean work, and that was the assignment. And for my last one, each one of these had probably taken me. The first one probably took me an hour. The second one probably took me an hour. I got a little faster as I went, but to do detailed work at this level takes a lot of time. You really are zooming in to get right down to the individual pixels to outline it and shade it. And it really was like a lot of detail that goes into it. You don't necessarily appreciate it on something like this, but as far as like the discipline, as far as like the practice goes, it's like a good fundamental to get my hand on going forward. With that said, the last animal I wanted to pick something obvious, and I wanted it to be more straightforward than the previous ones. I didn't want the kangaroo with his long limbs and his claws and a lot of area to kind of go over and then go over again and then go over again to get closer and closer and closer to the edge. So I wanted to pick something with not a lot of long limbs that had to be outlined. So I went with a bat, and pretty nice long undulating lines underneath, a nice long curve arc over the top. His big ears, his big eyes, his big claws. So here is a bat, and blue because I wanted to do a different color, and I didn't want to reuse any of the colors that I'd already done. So I like this bat. I like the way he came out. Yeah, bat. So that's it. I said InDesign before. This is all actually Illustrator. I'm not going to go back and correct that. I'm going to do this in Premiere Pro, which is going to be my first pass at using Premiere Pro. And I'm going to have to figure out how to do picture-in-picture in Premiere Pro, which for as user-friendly as Mac is, the functionality of picture-in-picture in iMovie is not great. So Premiere Pro is a bit of a bigger program. I'm hoping it has some nice functionality in there that once I get a handle on it, I can, do it with both ease and eventually some style. Thanks for watching my early work in Illustrator, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.